We're cutting you loose. Your company card is canceled. Figure out how to get home yourself, loser. I read the text message 3 times, standing in that Buenos Aires hotel lobby. The marble floor under my feet felt more solid than anything else in my life at that moment. My boss's words glowed on the small screen in my hand. Each letter was a tiny knife. I didn't cry. I didn't throw my phone. I just stood there while people walked past me speaking Spanish and dragging their luggage and living their normal lives while mine was ending. I typed back slowly, carefully. Thank you for letting me know. Then I sat down on a cushioned bench near the entrance and tried to remember how to breathe. Let me go back. Let me tell you how I ended up here, thousands of miles from home, holding $40 in my wallet and a text message that basically said I was worthless. My name is Ria. I'm 32 years old. I have a 6-year-old daughter named Ivy, who still sleeps with the stuffed rabbit I gave her when she was born. Her father left when she was 2 months old, said he wasn't ready to be a parent, so it's just been us, me and Ivy, against everything. I started working at Belmar Goods 4 years ago. They made luxury handbags, the kind that cost more than my monthly rent. I wasn't a designer or anything fancy. I was a buyer coordinator. That meant I found people who could supply the materials we needed: leather, hardware, fabric, anything the designers asked for. The job paid enough to keep us fed and housed, not much more. But I was good at it, really good. I could talk to suppliers in different countries and make them understand what we needed. I learned bits of different languages. I asked about their families. I remembered their children's names. That's how you build trust. My boss was a man named Grayden, 46 years old, always wore expensive watches, always smelled like cologne that probably cost more than my weekly groceries. He got promoted to head of our whole division 3 years ago. I don't know how. He barely understood what we actually did. Grayden liked to remind me where I came from. You're lucky to work here, he'd say when I asked for a day off to take Ivy to the doctor. There are hundreds of people who'd take your place tomorrow. I'd smile and say, I know, thank you. What else could I say? I needed that job. Ivy needed food and clothes and school supplies. So I swallowed everything, every insult, every dismissal, every joke he made about how I talked or how I dressed or how I didn't understand business the way he did. 2 months ago, Grayden called me into his office. We have a problem, he said. Our leather supplier in Argentina, the one who provides everything for our spring line, they're threatening to walk away. Why? I asked. How should I know? You're the one who talks to these people. He said it like I was a translator, not someone who actually negotiated terms and built relationships. I'll reach out to them, I said. I contacted the supplier that afternoon. His name was Eduardo. He ran a family business outside Buenos Aires. 3 generations making the finest leather I'd ever touched. Soft, but strong, beautiful. Eduardo was frustrated. Your company treats us like we are machines, he told me during our conversation. Last month, they wanted to pay us less. This month, they want faster delivery. They never ask if we can do this. They just demand. I understand, I said. Let me see what I can work out. I spent the next week putting together a proposal. Better payment terms, realistic delivery schedules, a guarantee of consistent orders so Eduardo could plan ahead. Things that made sense for both sides. Grayden barely looked at it. Just go there, he said. Go to Argentina and fix this. Make them happy. That's your job. When? I asked. Next week. You'll be there for 3 weeks. Maybe a month. However long it takes. My heart dropped. That's a long time. My daughter. Your daughter has family, doesn't she? Friends? Figure it out, Ria. This is your job. Ivy cried the night before I left. She held onto my waist and said, Don't go, Mommy. Please don't go. I knelt down and held her small face in my hands. I have to go to work, baby. Just for a little while. Aunt Priya is going to stay with you. You love Aunt Priya. But it's my birthday soon, she whispered. I felt something break inside my chest. I know. I'll be back before your birthday. I promise. I didn't keep that promise. I arrived in Buenos Aires on a Tuesday. The city was loud and alive and completely overwhelming. I took the cheapest taxi I could find to a hotel that Grayden's assistant had arranged. It was fine. A little worn, but clean. I met Eduardo the next day at his workshop. It wasn't in the city. I had to take a bus for almost an hour to reach it. The building was old, but well kept. Inside, workers were stretching and treating leather. The smell was sharp and earthy. Eduardo was 63 years old with gray hair and strong hands. His wife, Lucia, managed the administrative side. She brought me tea and pastries while we talked. "Tell me what you need," Eduardo said. "I need you to keep working with us," I said honestly. "But I also need you to tell me what's not working for you." We talked for hours that first day. About prices, about schedules, about respect. That last word kept coming up. Respect. "Your boss," Eduardo said carefully. "He speaks to us like we are nothing, like our work means nothing." "I know," I said quietly. "He speaks to me the same way." Eduardo's wife looked at me with something like sympathy. "Then, why do you stay?" "Because I have a daughter to feed," I said. She nodded. She understood. Over the next 2 weeks, I built something with Eduardo and his family. Not just an agreement, a real relationship. We negotiated terms that worked for everyone. I explained what the company needed. He explained what his workers could actually do. We found middle ground. Eduardo started insisting on something unusual. "I want you to be the person we deal with," he said. "Not your boss. Not anyone else. You." "I'm not in charge," I said. "I'm just the coordinator." "Then we make you in charge of this arrangement," he said firmly. "Every agreement goes through you. Every change must be approved by you. Otherwise, we don't work with D.r.a.m.a anymore." I didn't understand why at the time. I thought maybe he just liked working with me better than Grayden. Later, I realized he saw something I didn't see yet. He saw that Grayden was using me, taking my work and pretending it was his. And Eduardo wanted to protect what we were building together. Back home, Grayden would message me at odd hours. "Where are we with the contract? When is it signed? What's taking so long?" I'd explain that building trust takes time, that rushing would ruin everything. He'd respond with things like, "I don't need excuses. I need results." Once, Grayden insisted on joining one of my conversations with Eduardo through an internet call. It was a disaster. Grayden interrupted constantly, made jokes that didn't translate, treated Eduardo like he was stupid. After Grayden left the conversation, Eduardo said to me, "That man doesn't respect anyone but himself." "I'm sorry," I said. "Don't apologize for him," Eduardo said. "You are not him." Ivy's birthday came and went. I sent her presents. I made a video message singing happy birthday. My sister Priya told me. Ivy cried when she opened them. "She just wants you home, Ria," Priya said. "I know," I whispered. Soon. Finally, after 3 weeks, we had everything ready. A full agreement, terms that made sense. A partnership that would bring D.r.a.m.a goods $12 million worth of materials over 2 years. Enough leather to fill their spring collection and beyond. Eduardo's family would benefit. The company would benefit. Everyone would win. The signing was scheduled for a Thursday morning. Eduardo wanted to do it properly. With his whole family present, he treated it like it meant something. I was proud of what I'd built. Genuinely proud. For once in my life, I felt like I'd done something that mattered. Something bigger than just surviving. That Wednesday evening, I was in the hotel lobby checking if I had everything ready for the next day when my phone buzzed. The message from Grayden appeared. "We're cutting you loose. Your company card is canceled. Figure out how to get home yourself, loser." End quote. I stopped breathing. I read it again, then again. No explanation, no warning, just those words. I checked my card. He wasn't lying. It had been canceled. I had $40 in my wallet. My return flight was booked for next week, using the company's travel account. I didn't know if that was canceled too. I was stranded, in a foreign country, after 3 weeks of work, after giving up my daughter's birthday, after eating cheap street food to save the company money, after sleeping in bargain hotels and taking buses and doing everything they asked. And Grayden called me a loser. My fingers moved on their own. "Thank you for letting me know." I didn't know what else to say. My mind was blank, empty. Before I continue further, I want to say thank you for listening to my story. I know these things are hard to hear. Sometimes they're hard to tell. But I appreciate you being here, wherever you are in the world right now, whether you're driving, or cleaning, or just sitting somewhere quiet. Thank you. Now, back to the story. I sat on that bench for maybe an hour, maybe more. People walked past. The hotel staff glanced at me sometimes, but didn't say anything. I kept thinking about Ivy. How would I get home to her? Would I have to ask my sister to wire me money? The humiliation of that felt almost as bad as the text message itself. Then something shifted inside me. Not anger exactly. Something colder, clearer. I looked at my bag. Inside was a folder with the unsigned agreement, the one worth $12 million, the one that would save Belmar's entire spring season, the one Eduardo refused to sign with anyone except me. I stood up. I walked out of that hotel. I found my way to the bus stop, and I rode back to Eduardo's workshop one last time. It was dark by the time I reached the workshop. The lights were still on inside. Eduardo and Lucia were finishing up paperwork for the next day's signing. They looked surprised when I walked in. "Ria," Eduardo said, "is everything all right? You look—" "They fired me," I said. The words came out flat. "Matter of fact, my boss. He sent a message this evening, said they're cutting me loose. He canceled my company card, told me to find my own way home." Lucia's hand went to her mouth. Eduardo's face went hard. "After everything?" he said quietly. "After 3 weeks? After you worked so hard?" "Yes. Where are you staying tonight?" "The hotel. I have enough cash for maybe 2 more nights. Then I'll figure something out." Eduardo exchanged a look with his wife. They had one of those conversations married people can have without speaking. Then he turned back to me. "The signing tomorrow," he said. "What do you want to do?" That was when I realized something. Eduardo wasn't asking if the signing would happen. He was asking what I wanted to happen. "What do you mean?" I asked. "This agreement," he said, gesturing to the papers on the workbench. "It's written with your name. You are the contact person. You are the one who approves everything. The company must deal with you to get our leather. That's what we negotiated. But I don't work there anymore." "Exactly," Eduardo said. "So, why would I sign with them?" The weight of what he was saying hit me slowly. The agreement wasn't just about me being a contact person. It was legally binding. Eduardo had insisted on language that made me the required point person for the entire partnership. Without me, there was no deal. "They'll send someone else," I said. "They'll try to renegotiate." "Let them try," Eduardo said. "I won't speak to them. My family won't speak to them. We built this relationship with you, not with that man who disrespects us. You." "But what about the other company?" I asked. "The one that contacted you last month?" Eduardo smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was something else. Something sharp. Aurora Lux. "Yes. They've been calling us for almost a year, offering better prices, better terms. We always said no because we had an understanding with Belmar. But now," he shrugged, "now Belmar has broken that understanding." "You'd really walk away from $12 million? I asked. "The money isn't walking away," Lucia said gently. "It's just walking to someone else, someone who treats people properly." I felt something loosening in my chest, something that had been tight for so long I'd forgotten it was there. "There's something else," Eduardo said. "Aurora Lux asked us last month if we knew anyone who could coordinate their international buying, someone who understands materials and suppliers, someone with connections." He paused. "I have someone in mind now." He meant me. "I can't," I said automatically. "I need to get home. I need to find another job. You need to stop letting people treat you like you're worthless," Eduardo said firmly. "This man, your boss, he throws you away like garbage after you built something valuable for him. And you want to rush home and find another person who will do the same thing?" "I have a daughter," I said. "I need stable work. I can't take risks." "This isn't a risk," Lucia said. "This is you taking what you've earned. You built this relationship. You did the work. Why should they benefit from it?" I looked at the unsigned agreement in my hands. 3 weeks of my life, 3 weeks away from Ivy. All those conversations, all those negotiations, all that trust I'd built. And Grayden had called me a loser. "What would I need to do?" I asked quietly. Eduardo's expression softened. "Tonight, nothing. Stay here. We have a guest room upstairs. Tomorrow morning, I'll call Aurora Lux. I'll tell them Belmar is no longer an option. I'll introduce them to you. Then I'll call your old boss and tell him there will be no signing. He'll be angry." "Good," Eduardo said simply. I stayed in their guest room that night. It was small and clean, with a bed that felt like sleeping on a cloud compared to the hotel. Lucia brought me tea and empanadas. She sat with me while I ate. "My father used to say something," she told me. "When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Your boss showed you who he is. Don't give him a second chance to prove it again." I thought about that all night, about all the times Grayden had shown me exactly who he was, and how I'd ignored it because I needed the job, because I was scared, because I thought I didn't have choices. The next morning, Eduardo made his calls. First, he called someone at Aurora Lux. I could only hear his side of the conversation. Yes, this is Eduardo from Familia Reyes Leatherworks. We spoke last month about a partnership. Is that still something you're interested in? Good. I have someone you should meet. She's brilliant. She's the reason Belmar wanted to work with us. Now, she's available. Then he called Grayden. I sat there in Eduardo's workshop while he put the phone on speaker. My hands were shaking, but I tried to keep my face calm. Grayden answered on the second ring. Eduardo, finally. I've been trying to reach you. Are we all set for this morning? No, Eduardo said. We're not all set. Silence. What do you mean? Grayden's voice changed. Got harder. I mean there will be no signing, no agreement. Familia Reyes will not be working with Belmar Goods. Is this about money? Because we can. This is about respect, Eduardo said. Something you don't understand. Now wait a minute. I don't know what Ria told you, but she told me you fired her. Eduardo interrupted. After she spent 3 weeks here building something good. After she worked harder than anyone I've seen. You threw her away like she means nothing. That's an internal company matter, Grayden said. His voice was tight now, controlled. It has nothing to do with our business arrangement. It has everything to do with it, Eduardo said. Ria was our arrangement. We negotiated with her. We trust her. We don't trust you, so there is no arrangement. You can't do this. We have a verbal agreement. We have nothing, Eduardo said. And now I'm going to work with Aurora Lux instead. They've been asking us for a year. We said no because we were loyal to Belmar. But Belmar wasn't loyal to the person who made this possible. So, goodbye. Wait. Eduardo hung up. I just stared at him. My heart was beating so fast I thought it might break through my ribs. Did you just... I started. Did you really... Yes, Eduardo said calmly. I did. Now let's talk about your new job. Aurora Lux wanted to meet me that afternoon. Eduardo arranged everything. They sent a car, an actual car with a driver. I'd been taking buses for 3 weeks. The Aurora Lux headquarters was in a better part of Buenos Aires. Newer buildings, cleaner streets. I felt out of place walking in there wearing the same clothes I'd been rotating for weeks. The person who met me was a woman named Isla. She was maybe 45, sharp suit, kind eyes. Eduardo speaks very highly of you, she said after we shook hands. Tell me about yourself, I told her. Not the professional version, the real version. About Ivy, about working at Belmar, about building relationships with suppliers, because I actually cared about people, about being stranded here yesterday. And yet you're here today, Isla said. Not on a plane home. Why? Because Eduardo made me realize something, I said. I'm good at what I do. Really good. And I'm tired of people who don't see that. Isla smiled. Eduardo said you negotiated a $12 million agreement. Is that accurate? Yes. Can you do that again? For us? Yes, I said. And I meant it. Then let's talk about what you need. Salary, travel arrangements, flexible schedules because you have a daughter. All of it. Tell me what would make this work for you. No one had ever asked me that before. What I needed. What would make things work for me. I told her. About needing to be home for Ivy. About wanting fair pay. About needing respect and trust. About wanting to build something that mattered. Done, Isla said. All of it. When can you start? I need to get home first, I said. See my daughter. Explain what's happening. Then I can come back. We'll arrange your flight. Today, if you want. When you're ready to return, we'll cover everything. Housing, transportation, whatever you need. I left that meeting feeling like I'd stepped into someone else's life. Someone who got treated like they mattered. My phone started ringing that evening. Grayden. Over and over. I didn't answer. Then he started texting. What did you tell Eduardo? You sabotaged us. This is illegal. You'll hear from our lawyers. You're destroying the company. How can you be so selfish? I deleted each message without reading them fully. Then he tried a different approach. Ria, please, let's talk about this. Maybe I was too harsh yesterday. We can work something out. Come back and we'll fix this. I blocked his number. The next morning, Eduardo drove me to the airport himself. He'd paid for my ticket, wouldn't let me refuse. You earned this, he said at the departure gate. You earned respect. You earned trust. You earned a good job. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Thank you, I said. It felt insufficient. Those 2 words couldn't hold everything I was feeling. Go see your daughter, he smiled. Then come back and help us build something better. The flight home was the longest 13 hours of my life. I kept thinking about Ivy, about holding her, about explaining why I'd been gone for her birthday, about telling her things were going to be different now. Priya picked me up from the airport. One look at my face, and she asked, "What happened?" I told her everything in the car. She kept glancing at me while driving, like she was checking if I was real. "So she said slowly, "you just walked away? And now you have a better job?" "I didn't walk away," I said. "They threw me away. I just made sure they couldn't benefit from the pieces." Ivy was asleep when I got home. I went to her room and sat on the edge of her bed. She looked so small, so peaceful. I brushed hair from her face and she stirred. "Mommy?" Her eyes opened, then went wide. "Mommy?" She threw her arms around my neck, and I held her tight enough that she squeaked. "You're home," she said into my shoulder. "I'm home, baby, and I'm never going to be away that long again. I promise." "You promised you'd be back for my birthday," she said quietly. "I know. I'm sorry. I broke that promise, but I'm going to keep this one." She pulled back and looked at my face. "Are you okay, Mommy? You look different." "I'm better than okay," I said. "Everything's going to be better now." That weekend, D.r.a.m.a Goods tried to reach me through other channels. Someone from their administrative department sent me a message. "Grayden would like to speak with you about reconsidering your position. We're prepared to offer increased compensation." I wrote back, "I don't have a position to reconsider. I was fired, via text message, while stranded overseas. Please don't contact me again." They tried twice more. Different people. Same message. I ignored them all. 2 weeks later, I was back in Buenos Aires. This time, Aurora Lux arranged everything. A decent apartment near the workshop, a rental car so I wouldn't need buses, a schedule that let me fly home every 2 weeks to see Ivy. Isla met me on my first day. "Welcome back," she said. "Ready to build something?" "Yes," I said. The work was similar to what I'd done before, finding suppliers, negotiating terms, building relationships. But everything else was different. When I had ideas, people listened. When I needed time off, nobody made me feel guilty. When I did good work, they acknowledged it. I helped Aurora Lux secure not just leather from Eduardo's family, but silk from suppliers in Thailand, hardware from craftspeople in India, fabric from weavers in Peru. Each connection I made was treated like it mattered, because it did. Ivy adjusted better than I expected. "Aunt Priya says you have a big, important job now," she told me during one of my trips home. "Is that true?" "It's important to me," I said. "But you're more important. That's why I come home so much." "I like that you come home," she said simply. "And I like when you bring me those cookies from the airplane." 3 months after I started working with Aurora Lux, their spring collection launched. Every piece was made with materials I'd sourced. The handbags were beautiful, elegant, the kind of quality that makes people stop and stare. They sold out in 2 weeks. Fashion writers started calling it the collection of the year. Aurora Lux became the name everyone was talking about. Orders flooded in from stores that had never carried their products before. Isla called me into her office after the numbers came in. "Do you know what you've done?" she asked. "I just did my job," I said. "You built us an empire," she said. "These relationships you've created, these suppliers who trust us because they trust you. That's not just a job, that's something rare." She offered me a promotion, international sourcing director, more money than I'd ever imagined making, full benefits, a guarantee that I could work remotely from home 3 weeks out of every month. "Yes," I said before she could finish explaining. "Yes, to all of it." That evening, I called Eduardo to share the news. He laughed so loudly I had to hold the phone away from my ear. "I knew it," he said. "I told Lucia. That woman is going to change everything. And look at you now. I couldn't have done it without you," I said. "You did it yourself," he corrected gently. "I just gave you a chance to show what you could do. You did the rest." Meanwhile, D.r.a.m.a Goods was collapsing. I didn't seek out this information. I didn't go looking for satisfaction. But news travels in small industries. People talk, suppliers share stories. I heard things. Without Eduardo's leather, D.r.a.m.a couldn't fulfill their spring orders. They tried finding other suppliers, but nobody could match the quality. The handbags they produced were inferior. Retailers started returning them. Customers complained. Stores that had committed to carrying Belmar's spring line canceled their orders. Some demanded refunds for the poor quality products they'd already received. The company's reputation tanked. Fashion blogs that had praised them for years started writing critical pieces. "What happened to Belmar goods?" one headline asked. "From luxury leader to disappointing disaster." Financially, they were bleeding. The spring collection was supposed to bring in $30 million. Instead, it brought in losses, returns, angry partners, legal threats from retailers who felt cheated. Grayden tried to save himself. He fired other people on his team, restructured the division, made promises about fixing everything, but the damage was done. I heard through someone who still worked there that he'd tried to contact Eduardo again, offered more money, better terms, practically begged. Eduardo told him, "You had the best coordinator in the industry working for you. You called her a loser and left her stranded overseas. Why would I trust anything you say?" 6 months after that text message in the hotel lobby, Belmar Goods filed for protection from their debts. Their parent company sold them off in pieces. The handbag division shut down completely. Grayden lost his job, no surprise there. But what happened next was harder to track. Some people said he tried to find work at other fashion companies. Nobody would hire him. His reputation was damaged. When potential employers called references, they heard about how he treated suppliers, how he treated his own team, how he'd destroyed a $12 million partnership because he couldn't value the person who built it. Last I heard, he was working at some small, struggling brand nobody had heard of, making a fraction of his old salary, living in a smaller apartment, driving an older car. I didn't celebrate when I heard this. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt tired of people like him, tired of a world that lets people like him rise, while people like me have to fight for scraps. But I also felt something else, something quieter, but stronger. Relief. Relief that I'd gotten out, that I'd found people who valued what I could do, that I'd built something real and good and mine. A year after everything happened, Aurora Luxe opened their own store in New York, their flagship location. Isla invited me to the opening event. I brought Ivy with me. She wore a new dress and held my hand tight while we walked through the store. Every handbag on display was made with materials I'd sourced. Every piece represented relationships I'd built. "Did you really help make all of this, Mommy?" Ivy asked, eyes wide. "I helped find the people who made it possible," I said. "The leather workers in Argentina, the silk weavers in Thailand, the craftspeople all over the world. I helped connect them with people who appreciate good work." "That's a lot of helping," she said seriously. "It is," I agreed, "and I get paid well for it, which means we can go out for ice cream after this." Her face lit up. "Really? Really?" "Isla found me near the end of the event. I'm glad you came," she said. "This wouldn't exist without you." "It would exist," I said, "maybe just with different materials." "No," Isla said firmly. "It wouldn't. Not like this. You built something special, Ria. These suppliers don't just work with us because we pay them. They work with us because they trust you. That's rare. That's valuable. Don't forget that." I promised I wouldn't. That night, Ivy fell asleep on the plane home. Her head rested on my shoulder. I looked at her peaceful face and thought about everything that had changed. A year ago, I was standing in a hotel lobby in Buenos Aires, reading a text message that called me a loser. Stranded, scared, $40 in my wallet, and no idea how to get home. Now I had a job that valued me, suppliers around the world who respected me, enough money to give Ivy the life she deserved, and most importantly, the knowledge that I'd never let anyone treat me that way again. Did I destroy Belmar Goods? No. Grayden did that himself when he decided I was worthless, when he threw away the person who'd built something valuable for his company, when he chose cruelty over common sense. I just refused to save him from his own choices. Sometimes people ask me if I feel guilty, if I wonder whether I should have handled things differently, whether I should have signed that agreement anyway and just moved on with my life. The answer is no. I don't feel guilty for valuing myself, for refusing to let someone benefit from work they didn't appreciate, for walking away from people who treated me like I was disposable. Eduardo taught me something important in that workshop. He said, "When someone throws you away, don't climb back into their trash bin. Walk away and let them realize what they've lost." That's what I did. I walked away, and I built something better, Ivy is 8 years old now. She knows the story. Not all of it. I've saved some of the harder parts for when she's older. But she knows her mother was treated badly once. That she was stranded far from home. That she found a way to turn something terrible into something good. You're brave, Mommy, she told me last week. I'm not brave, I said. I was just tired of being treated badly. That's what brave means, she said with the confidence only an 8-year-old can have. Being scared, but doing it anyway. Maybe she's right. Maybe choosing yourself when everyone else wants you to choose them is the bravest thing you can do. I still work with Aurora Lux. Still travel to meet suppliers. Still build relationships that matter. Eduardo and Lucia are like family now. Ivy calls them Grandpa Eduardo and Grandma Lucia, even though we're not related. Last month, Eduardo retired, passed the business to his son. At the retirement celebration, he pulled me aside. You know what I'm proudest of? He asked. Building such a successful business? I guessed. No, he said. I'm proud that I recognized your worth when your own boss couldn't see it. I'm proud that I gave you a chance, and I'm proud of everything you've become. Thank you, I whispered. For everything. Thank yourself, he said. You did the work. You had the courage. I just opened a door. You walked through it. So that's my story. That's what happened when my boss left me stranded overseas and canceled my company card and called me a loser. I didn't get what people might call typical revenge. I didn't destroy him directly. I didn't sabotage anything. I just stopped helping. I stopped building for someone who didn't value what I built, and I let nature take its course. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction. It's refusing to save someone from themselves. Sometimes the best revenge is choosing yourself. Thank you for listening all the way through. If this story meant something to you, if it reminded you that your work matters and you deserve respect, then please do me a favor. Hit that like button. Leave a comment telling me where you're listening from and what part of this story hit you hardest. And subscribe if you want to hear more stories about people who chose themselves when the world wanted them to disappear. Your support means everything. Thank you for being here.